In this video, guys, we're going to look at setting up hotkeys for quick trading execution. Stay tuned. Hey guys, warm welcome to you. All right, so you're a day trader, you're a scalper, you want to get in the market quickly. Some brokers will allow you to set up hotkeys to automate your trading entry. Now, CFD brokers, spread betting brokers, a little bit different. Some of them maybe have some sophisticated software for it, and most of the time you have to open a ticket, but you're trading directly on the futures exchange, directly on the stock exchange, using one of the other brokers that is giving you that direct access. Hotkeys are almost certainly available to you. So what does that mean as traders? I tried to find my little old thing I used to use. It was basically, I wish I had it, guys, because I bring it up and show you. If I do, I will definitely do another video, so make sure you're kind of subscribed. It was a big calculator basically, and it had rows and rows of keys on it, about 5 by, let's say, 10. So it's a square thing. You plugged it in, and you could write your own little labels and stick them on. So you could take the key off, you could I printed off my labels, and you could stick them on, and then you could program that to kind of do a hotkey. Now, a hotkey would be something like, you program it to your broker, it would be something like Shift. If you held down Shift plus Z, for example, that would be a hotkey. You could have something like Alt plus B, or Alt plus 2, or Alt plus 1. You get the idea. If it's not assigned to something already in the computer, like Control V or Control, think of another one here, guys. Control X is cut, isn't it? If it's not assigned to something like that on the computer, then you could assign it to your broker, and it would basically do something. So it was a hotkey. So you could assign this, and you could assign certain functions to it. So what would you want to do? So some of the things that I had would be buy at market, okay, pretty boring one. Sell at market, okay, so there's pretty standard ones that you want, pretty average. You could pre-program your amount of shares in that you were trading. So let's say you were trading 1,000 shares at a time, 3,000 shares at a time, 100 shares at a time, and let's say you traded different amounts depending on different. You could obviously program those too. So you could set the amount for that. Or you could do stuff a little bit more clever, which is kind of why I had all these multiple keys. And you could do stuff like, okay, join the bid, right? So that would mean that would put you at the best bid, right? So if the bid was, we know what the bid is. If the bid was, let's say the price was 50 to 51, it would join you in the market at 50 with your pre-arranged price. Or in some platforms, you could kind of adjust the price and then use that to select what you want to do with that price, with the, sorry, not the price, the volume. You could adjust the volume, the total number of shares you were doing, number of contracts you were doing, and then push it in. But this was perfect if you were trading, let's say you were trading futures and you always traded a 10 lot, or you always traded a 50 lot or a 1 lot. You could know that you're always going to do that. And very often, let's say you're trading a 10 lot, you could have it split up into hotkeys that did it with 5, hotkeys that did it with 10, and hotkeys that did it with 1. Then you can know, right, well, I'm going to put half in, I'm going to put half in here. I've been filled partial, I need to put 1 in. So you could play around with it. Not perfect, but it kind of did the job. Right, so you could join bid, you could join ask. So these are all pretty obvious ones. But what got interesting and it worked quite well if you're really aggressively day trading stuff, especially on crude oil, was if the spread got wide, you might not want to join it at 50. So let's say the spread went from 50 to 54, for example. You wouldn't mind buying this. You don't want to pay 54, it's a bit high. You don't want to sit on the bid at 50, but you want to be quickly in there so that someone is selling quickly in the market, you're getting filled. So I'd have a hotkey that would be bid plus 1. So in other words, that would put me in my pre-arranged size at the bid plus 1 tick. So if I just hit that straight away, I would be in there at the best bid at 51. So I would be hop 1 above it. So that would make sure that I was the most competitive person in there, and would make sure that I didn't have to pay up to 54, but I was at least there ready if someone sold straight away. And then I could adjust that. And then I had ones as well that put me at the mid. So it would put me in the mid between 54 and 51. If the spread was wide, if I was super aggressive, but I still didn't want to pay 54. Now, why did I do that? Because, if the spread is widening, especially around data and especially around key levels where it's swinging dramatically, if you just want to get into the market and you hit the market, you could get an awful price, especially if you're buying a breakout or you're buying a flush. By the time you get filled, you're going to get a bad price. So doing stuff like this where you're still aggressive but you're not very aggressive meant that you get filled most of the time. Like mid's going to get you filled most of the time on something like crude oil, but you're not going to be paying right up, and over time that would save you money. So if the market was flushing right down, you know, that would be a perfect time to use the bid plus one. Let's say you're buying an exhaustion, the market would flush straight through. I don't want to buy the market because generally you get left a vacuum on the tape as the market goes through lows, but I still want to be on it. I don't want to be kind of working in order at the bid, so I would go bid plus one, or if I'm extra aggressive, mid. So I would make sure that I'm still there, I'm still a limit order, but any residual sellers would take me, and often that would be a good possible price. So you can kind of play along with this. Other things that I would do is I would have like a bracket, and I'd call it BR1, and that would basically be one cancels the other order. That would put me my pre-arranged size, so it's 5 lots, 10 lots, 15 lots, 20 lots, whatever you're trading when you're trading crude oil or DAX. Obviously different position sizes depending on the market you're trading, but it will put you at a bracket, let's say 15 ticks profit, 5 ticks stop. So that will put you in straight away. So you could put that in, bang, your orders would go in, and then you could drag them on the ladder and move them up and down. But it saved you having to put the orders in manually, then put one cancels the other order in, all this kind of stuff. And then you could go one step further where you could add the bracket. So you could have these, but you could then have plus the bracket. So in other words, it would put you in, and if filled, then it will put in your stops and limits automatically for you. So if you can imagine the market was coming down, let's say use that analogy again, it was flushing through lows. You hit that bid plus one plus bracket order, and let's say it put 10 lots in for you at the bid plus one. You got filled automatically. It might put in a, let's say, a 6 tick stop and a 15 tick target straight away in the order book. In which case, then, if one of them was filled, let's say it went straight and hit your stop, it would cancel the other one. If it went up and it filled your limit, it would cancel that. So you didn't have to mess around. So in very quick markets, obviously this is more for scalping and a kind of aggressive day trading, you wouldn't have to manually be putting stuff in. And very often, I didn't use that bracket so much because I kind of want to work the order a little bit more, but very often I would put an emergency stop in. So for every trade I did, I'd have, let's say, a 30 tick stop. So trade would go in, 30 tick stop means that if worst case scenario, the whole thing went down, I couldn't get access to it as I'd put an order in, let's say I was in, 50 lots or something hefty, then at least you know that you're protected, you're going to get taken out, and then you could drag that stop up manually after. But there's loads of things you can do. And that's how you could trade with hotkeys. Like I say, some brokers allow you to do it, some brokers don't, but it's something to think about. If you're trading actively and you're kind of clicking the mouse, then maybe you can do this. And like I say, I wish I had that keyboard with me. I'll dig it up. If I can dig it out, guys, I'll find it and I'll bring it up and I'll show you this kind of thing. But if you don't have that, you can still obviously just use your keyboard. And like I say, you can have like shift, whatever, you can have control, whatever, and you get to know quickly what does what, and it just helps you a little bit more with your execution speed. All right, guys, take care. See you next one. Bye-bye.